The hill where the river flows. A reflection on flow and permanence. Phase 1. Introduction, the silence of the hill and the start of the wind. 1. Escape from the commotion, the noise of the city, deadlines, and the ceaseless ringing of alarms. When we wish to escape all this commotion that defines our lives, we often recall the word stillness, yet true stillness is not the absence of sound, but rather the state where we begin to hear all the sounds of the world differently. And today I climbed onto the crest of this hill where the river flows to find that true quiet. This hill, neither steep nor overly high, is merely a subtle boundary separating our daily routine from nature. Beneath my feet, unnamed wild grasses grow thick, releasing a brittle grassy scent with every step. I ascended the soft emerald slope with slow deliberation. It lacks the imposing presence of a mountain peak or the grand scale of the sea. It is a humble landscape, like the unassuming simple embrace of a mother who feels no need to show off. Reaching the crest, I leaned on my knees to catch my breath, and in that moment the world's din ceased, and other sounds began to emerge. 2. The hill's breath, the fixed and the flowing. The first to greet me was the wind. The wind is the hill's very breath, unseen, yet possessing the power to move everything. This intangible force gently strokes the crown of the hill before passing on. It tickles the tips of the grass blades, tangles my hair, and then flows onward into the valley beyond. As I stand here gazing at the view, the world divides into a clear boundary between the fixed and the flowing. The fixed is this hill itself, and the mountain range that firmly anchors the distant horizon. They have held their ground for thousands of years, steadfastly maintaining their form through countless storms and droughts. Conversely, the flowing elements move ceaselessly above my head. Leisurely, sheep-like clouds silently drift westward. The clouds seem to have a destination, yet they flow serenely, as if the movement itself were the sole purpose. The clouds display their greatest freedom of movement right here, above the emerald slope, almost touching the blue sky. If the hill embodies the past, the clouds seem to exist only in the present. 3. The focus of the gaze. The river's quiet invitation. I sit on the hilltop and look down at the lowest point my eyes can reach. Where the essence of this entire landscape breathes, lies the river. The river does not reveal its presence. Boisterously at first, there is no thundering waterfall or crashing wave. It merely appears like a silver thread, quietly winding around the mountain's waist, carving out its own secret path. If the hill is the silence that embraces everything, the river is the flow that carries everything onward, almost whispering. I suddenly realized that I didn't climb this hill simply to rest. The hill was merely the best vantage point from which to observe the river. I wanted to borrow the fixed perspective of the hill to witness the ceaseless journey of the water flowing below. The river speaks of the simple truth. Everything in the world begins somewhere. The river will polish the rocks and pebbles, traverse countless valleys and fields, and ultimately press onward toward the wide open sea. This river's tranquil current and the journey of endless birth that begins beneath it is, ironically, the loudest story one can hear on this quiet hilltop now. It is time to fix my gaze upon the river, and begin a journey following the depth of time and vitality held within this stream. Phase 2. The river's long journey and its reflection. 1. The silver thread of time. My focus shifts entirely, now moving from the static comfort of the hill to the dynamic force in the valley below. The river is not merely a geographic feature, it is time made visible. It is the purest metaphor, the perpetual motion that governs the universe from my vantage point. The water appears like a silver thread, weaving itself through the greens and browns of the landscape, but unlike a static thread, this one is perpetually spun and unspun. It is a liquid chronicler. Think of the immense journey this water has undertaken. It rushed past the hard edges of countless boulders, smoothing their surfaces. It carved channels through dense earth. It embraced every rainfall and every moment of sunshine. Along its route, the river carries the memory of all these places, a silent accumulated wisdom gathered from the mountain solitude and the valley's life. This journey is the essence of life itself, a series of transformations, of overcoming obstacles, always moving forward, even when the path seems to loop back on itself. 2. The mirror of endless reflection. The sun, now sinking slightly in the afternoon sky, catches the surface of the water, turning the stream into a mirror made of liquid glass, but this mirror does not merely reflect my face, the trees lining the bank, it reflects time itself. It is here, in the shimmering waters, that I witness the profound beauty of duality. The river captures the deep blue of the sky and the white brilliance of the passing clouds, offering a perfect inversion of the world above, yet the river is also dark and deep beneath the surface, concealing the secrets of the muddy bed and the creatures that dwell within. In one moment the water is calm enough to perfectly mirror the light of the day. In the next, a slight breeze, or a pebble dropped from the bank, disrupts the surface, shattering the reflection into 1,000 fleeting ripples. This is the nature of existence. Moments of serene clarity instantly followed by turbulence, distortion, and change. 3. The will of the water and the waiting sea. I observe one particular sight, a solitary willow tree, leaning heavily toward the current, its long, weeping branches trailing into the water. This tree, deeply rooted and unmoving, contrasts sharply with the frantic movement of the water. Rushing past it, it's an image of two different wills, the will to remain and the will to escape. The river has a clear purpose. Its existence is defined by its ultimate destination, the wide and waiting sea. Every drop, every eddy, every curve is a commitment to that final, vast expanse. It rushes past the comfort of the willow, past the familiarity of the grassy bank, compelled by an instinct to merge, to become greater than itself. The gentle murmur of the current below begins to fill the space, a low, consistent sound that is both soothing and powerful. It is the sound of pure, unceasing energy, the very heartbeat of the landscape, preparing the listener for the deeper reflections that lie ahead. Phase 3. The weight of the seasons and the human shadow. Melancholy draping the landscape. The river below continues its ceaseless flow, but everything surrounding it, the whole landscape, is changing, preparing for decay and responding to the call of autumn's falling leaves and winter's chill. Before this stark contrast, I am seized by an unknown melancholy. The river exists within nature's eternal cycle, yet I, the observer, am a finite being, who will one day be excluded from that grand rotation. The poem stated, "The current keeps its steady pace, unlike." The changing human race. This line pierces my heart. The steady pace that the river has maintained for millennia is nature's reliability, its law. The river does not age. 2. Time's obsession and human finitude. We are taught we must flow like the river, but in reality we long to remain fixed like the hill forever. The river fulfills the meaning of its existence simply through the act of flowing, but for humans flow often signifies loss, childhood memories, the vitality of youth, moments of love. Once these flow away like the river, we are left confronting the changed self in the empty spaces of loss. I feel as though I am witnessing the irreversible current of our own lives. The river is grand and beautiful, yet it is also dispassionate. It never looks back. It holds no regrets for the places it has swept past. This cold forward thrust comes as a profound fear to me, a being defined by limits. 3. The weight of solitude. A speck in nature. I feel that I remain perpetually the observer. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, the shadows between the hill and the river lengthen. My own shadow stretches far out, covering the landscape. It is as if my own finite and frail existence is leaving a brief, fleeting mark upon this eternal nature. In this moment, the peaceful hill suddenly begins to pose a heavy question. Will you struggle to stop this flow, or will you acknowledge it and flow in your own way? Nature offers no direct answer. The river merely continues its steady pace without fail in this silence. I fully feel the weight of my own shadow, the weight of my finitude. Phase 4. The wisdom of the flow and the eternal lullaby. 1. The lullaby of moving grace. The long shadows of doubt and melancholy begin to recede as the last light of the day softens the edges of the hill. I close my eyes and let the continuous sound of the river wash over me. It is no longer a reminder of relentless time or inevitable loss. Instead, the murmur of the current transforms into a profound comfort. I realize what the poem meant when it referred to the river's sound as a lullaby before I sleep, / the sound of timeless, moving grace. The river does not rush. It simply is. Its movement is not frantic. It is graceful because it accepts its nature without question. The water does not try to hold onto the stones it polishes, nor does it resist the bend in the riverbank. It simply flows. This acceptance is the ultimate wisdom offered by the landscape. The river teaches that striving to resist the flow only creates turbulence and anxiety. True peace is found in surrendering to the inevitable. 2. Coexistence, the hill and the current. The hill represents the stationary, memory, strength, and being rooted. The river represents the transient, change, freedom, and letting go. I understand now that my life is not defined by one or the other, but by the space between them. I must be rooted like the hill, holding on to core values, but I must also flow like the river, releasing fear and accepting transformation. This place is where ancient waters come and go, and where I stand between nature's beauty, old and new. The cyclical nature of life, birth and death, beginning and end, is not a threat here, but a beautiful, reliable promise. Nothing is truly lost, only transformed and recycled. 3. Carrying the flow within. It is time to descend the slope and return to the noise of the world, but I am not the same person who climbed this hill hours ago. I leave the visible river behind, but I take its essence with me. I carry the steady, quiet rhythm of the current. Deep within my consciousness, this is the enduring gift of the hill, a perspective that allows the sound of timeless grace to become an internal, perpetual melody. I may face deadlines and alarm clocks again, but now when the world demands that I hurry or resist, I will remember the river. I will remember the wisdom of letting go, the power of persistent, unforced movement, and the serenity found in acceptance. I carry within me the view of nature's beauty, old and new, and the quiet, comforting knowledge that, even when I am standing still, a vital part of me is always flowing. The hill where the river flows, upon the crest where wild grass grows, a gentle breeze softly blows. The emerald slopes rise to the sky, where silent clouds go drifting by. Beneath this peak of quiet earth, a journey starts of endless birth. The river winds its silver thread through rocky paths and sandy bed. The waters shimmer in the light, reflecting days that turn to night, a mirror made of liquid glass that watches distinct seasons pass. The hill stands firm, a guardian stone, while water travels all alone. It rushes past the willow tree, in search of the wide and waiting sea. I hear the murmur, low and deep, a lullaby before I sleep, the sound of timeless moving grace. Within this solitary place, when autumn leaves begin to fall, and answer winter's chilly call, the current keeps its steady pace, unlike the changing human race. So let me sit and watch the flow, where ancient waters come and go, upon the hill that holds the view of nature's beauty, old and new.